Paper Plane Movie Summary. Paper Plane is a 2015 Australian 3D children's drama film directed by Robert Connolly, which he co-wrote with Steve Woollen and co-produced with Liz Kearney and Maggie Miles. The film stars Sam Worthington, David Wenham, Deborah Melman, and Ed Ozenbach. The film tells a story about Dylan, a young boy who lives in Australia, who finds out that he has a talent for making paper planes and dreams of competing in the World Paper Plane Champion in Japan. 12-year-old Dylan lived with his father in the West Australian outback. One day, at school, Dylan discovered he is extremely good at making and flying paper planes. Dylan takes solace in his mischievous grandfather Terry Norris and his talent for making paper aeroplanes. While attempting to refine and develop his newly realized ability, Dylan finds himself caught up in the world of competitive paper plane making, leading to new friendships, new rivalries, and new revelations about his own family. After an unexpected introduction to the world of competitive paper plane throwing, the tiny 12-year-old Dylan Weber finally makes it to the Aussie Junior Championship in Sydney. However, with a resigned father living in the past, Dylan will have to use his resourcefulness to come out with a winning paper plane model for the World Junior Paper Plane Championship in Tokyo to compete against skillful and very ambitious contestants. Clearly, at the end of Dylan's great adventures, the only important thing is fighting for what matters in life, and even though winning is something, never giving up is everything.
The purpose of this review is to analyze organization behavior based on the scene in the movie Paper Plane. There are many scenes that are related with the organization behavior in the movie, and the scene that have been chosen is 4 scenes. The organizational behavior topic that related with the scene is motivation. Motivation is a collection of factors that influence how individuals behave. Motivation refers to the internal factor that govern an individual's direction, level, and persistence of effort during work. For example, if someone have good motivation, and they will be a great person. The motivation is very important at workplace. Employee motivation is critical to success of any organization. It is the degree of dedication, desire, and energy that company employee bring to their job on daily basis. Without it, business face decreased productivity, lower level of production, and are more likely to fall short of critical goals. Other than that is perception. Perception is the process of categorizing, analyzing, and comprehending an event or an individual. This occurs when we begin to categorize, analyze, and assign meaning to things that happen around us as well as what we observe. The importance of perception is effective communication skills are critical for influencing perception in the workplace. If people have positive attitude about their job, the chance of organizational success is high. As a result, staff retention would decrease and would no longer be concerned. Next topic is group. Group is defined as 2 or more persons that interact and are independent in order to attain some shared group or aim. Working with others allow you to pull your thought and look at challenges from new angles. In a group setting, you can try activities that an individual could not do, combining a range of talent and experience to tackle more complicated and large-scale challenges.
Next is main discussion. There is organizational behavior based on one of the scenes of the movie. Paper planes is communication. Communication is the process conveying information through the exchange of thought, message, or data. The exchange of information occurs between 2 or more people and can occur through speech, using visual or gesture, in writing, or through behavior, and it is an exchange of understanding and plays an important role in sharing information between all. For example, in the movie Paper Planes, there are many scenes that show communication function, namely motivation, information, control, and interaction. Among the functions of communication in the organization is motivation, which is defined as the manager and organizational leaders use communication as a tool to motivate workers to work hard, achieve the target, and perform at peak performance. Furthermore, communication also requires information to allow it to either be conveyed from the manager or organizational leaders to the employees and vice versa. In addition, control is also important in communication because any organization use communication as a means to control employees and their work environment. Last but not least is interaction in communication can allow organizations to interact with their business partners, suppliers or agents and customers.
For the first scene, it is including the organizational behavior that include in Chapter 3, which is perception. Perception is defined as the ability to capture, process, and actively make sense of the information that our senses receive. It's apparent in the cognitive processes of the brain that allow humans and other species to identify their surroundings and conceptualize others' behavioral gestures. As you can see, Dylan's father gives a good perception towards Dylan's interests. Positive perception constitutes the general framework of an individual's self-assessment, as well as the fact that an individual being assessing the others and an individual being assessed by others. Every person in this world is unique because of his perception. People with different perception have different characteristics. For example, individual differences help examine why some people embrace change and others are fearful of it, or why some employees will be productive only if they are closely supervised, or while others will be productive only if they are not, or why some workers learn new tasks more effectively than others. In the second scene, it is including the organizational behavior in Chapter 4, which is motivation. Motivation is essentially the underlying drive of individuals to accomplish tasks and goals. There are many factors that can influence employee including organization structure, integrity of company operation, and company culture. Motivation is important to a business and its employees. It helps an individual achieve personal goals. A motivated individual will have greater job satisfaction, heightened performance, and a willingness to succeed, while an unmotivated employee typically spend little or no effort completing required work, often do the bare minimum without a desire to deliver quality outcomes. Workers and give those employees the motivation necessary to improve their performance.
So for scene 1, the duration is 45.30 minutes. For the organization behavioral value is motivation. Motivation is a personal trait that reflects the direction, intensity, and persistence of effort put forth in the job. As you can see, he take work from his girlfriend to continue to success in the competition. So for the conclusion, the importance of motivation in business is pushing the company ahead via direction, motivation, and good leadership. When people are motivated, they work more efficiency. Okay, so what happens if a company ignore the motivation? If the company or organization does not prioritize employee motivation, it will lead to a slew of issues. For example, treating everyone the same demotivate employee by treating everyone equally well. As a result, this outcome will always be demotivating. And how to overcome if this problem happen? If this problem arise, the organization must visible a viable remedy such as treating it drop fairly or treating worker decently rather than mindlessly. One method to achieve this is to recognize when employee want assistance and when they just need to be left alone to perform at their best. So for scene 2 is 31.13 minutes and the organization behavioral value illustration is group. A group can be defined as two or more interacting and independent individuals who come together to achieve particular objective. As you can see, this boy interacts with his grandfather to operate his plane. So the conclusion of these scenes, group are critical for increasing organizational product and influence organization member attitude and action. Teamwork such relieve its employee job stress, allowing them to be more perceived in performing given duty. And what happens if the company ignore the group? Employee can participate, resulting in silence, which is more awkward than discussing. Employee can discuss the problem, but without a vision of actionable step, meeting can consume too much time, wasting someone time and costing more money than they should. How to overcome if this problem arise? If a company is having an issue with a group, there are various options available to the company. Make someone accountable, for example, determine who will serve at the meeting as a leader. This individual may be in charge of the variety of tasks including choosing meeting, attendance, creating agenda, and conducting discussion. But the most essential function is to make a final decision. This individual will be in charge of selecting the last suggestion and ending the meeting, which will assist to break the meeting repeating cycles.
Overall conclusion, this movie makes a slightly pure deal about winning not being as important as how you play the game, but inevitably find a way of having its cake and eating it on that score. It means not necessarily winning the game is something very important, but two options that someone wants, but they can have both because the option conflict with each other, so they can only pick one. For example, you should tell someone that they can have two good things that don't normally go together at the same time, like eating a cake and then continuing to possess that same cake so you can eat later. The value in this movie that we can apply to our future work environment is being creative and seeing the value in doing something unique. Creative thinking is important because it helps you look at problems and situations from a fresh perspective. Creative thinking is a way to develop novel or unorthodox solutions that do not depend wholly on past or current solution. For example, in this movie, Dylan is very creative to think how to make a good paper plane. It's a way of employing strategies to clear your mind so that your thoughts and ideas can transcend what appear to be the limitation of a problem. You might be surprised to know that everyone has creative abilities. It's true of everyone who fully express creative abilities as well as those who express them very little or not at all. All humans are innately creative, especially if creativity is understood as a problem-solving skills.